In the center of Stepanakert, a bomb disposal team is working carefully in this apartment block to remove an unexploded shell.
In this case, what's happened is that the fuse has been damaged coming through the roof, so now it hasn't functioned properly. Either the impact has not been hard enough, or it's been at the wrong angle, and that can stop it from functioning. In this case, this is what's happened, so that's why we have to move it.
If the bomb is knocked, it could go off, making this potholed road particularly treacherous. Even at a remote destruction site, the team can't let their guard down. The team is part of the Halo Trust, a British non-profit working to remove some of the thousands of unexploded bombs that litter Nagorno-Karabakh. During the fall of the Soviet Union, Armenia and Azerbaijan went to war over the territory. Nagorno-Karabakh is internationally recognized as part of Azerbaijan, but it's largely inhabited by ethnic Armenians. Late last year, fighting erupted again. It lasted for only 6 weeks, but around 150 civilians and thousands of soldiers were killed. And despite a ceasefire, the dangers of the conflict, specifically unexploded ordnance, are still around every corner.
So I've got the go-ahead so we can just do demolitions now, and then we can get rid of it.
Halo's just received a call from an elderly woman in a village about an hour away from the city. Her garden is full of shells from a cluster bomb.
Քինամս դու բոստանը, ջիլի քինամս բոստանը, եշի հա, տարա կամոն ինստեղերը նշաստվա, թամամա եշի հատե ճանջին փեթակացրովատովալ, ու հանե մինես սխտորը մաչին կրուգլի, միննել հյաթմնալա թողմրակցալ հղինց կետարակալչի, հատետի դու էնորվանից ուշադիրուլի, էնորվանից ոչ միտեղ քենանչ, դե ինչանիմ.
Last year's conflict was intense in this area, but 80-year-old Mila Babayan stuck it out here for most of the fighting. Despite the explosives in her backyard, Babayan is more worried about being a good host.
Ներկա ժամանակս ես մեծ ուրախ եմ, որ իմ բոլոր երեխաները գրվում են եղա, բոլորը ողջ առողջ վերադարձալ անձը. Ես վեր հիշում բոլոր երիտասարդներին, նիհանչան սրտանց, կարում չմ ես են ծնողների, որ զոհն գործրա, ինչ ասին.
The cluster bombs found in Babayan's garden are banned by most countries because they're considered indiscriminate and unreliable. But they're being found across Nagorno-Karabakh and the surrounding areas. Both Armenia and Azerbaijan deny firing cluster bombs into civilian areas, but evidence shows that both sides did just that. It's just one of the many dangers hidden away in the homes and gardens here.
At the moment, more and more people are coming back to the village after the war had ended, and they're finding lots of rockets inside their gardens and other types of ammunition.
Last October, an Azerbaijani strike hit a munitions depot, scattering explosives over several miles.
As a result of the explosion, the fast pressure that comes along, the safety mechanisms might have gone, and therefore they are dangerous to touch. So they might function as intended when the tip of them are hit with, for example, your foot.
Similar threats face Azerbaijanis. The country took back territory it had lost in the 90s war, much of it covered with landmines laid by Armenian forces. About 100 people have already been either wounded or killed in the area since the ceasefire, according to the Azerbaijan government. The cleanup could take years, as it can only be done one home, one street, or in the case of Babayan, one garden at a time.
Շատ աստեղ, օբշի բարատասից մի 20 հաստեղա, չէ։ Տանետ ելուղ տամեսի տրեք սնմք։ Մեշուկները գլսալ, կարոչի տիրալ, ենքան վեր կարոչի ես տանը վնաս չտան։ Ալյաս պսեց։ Ձեն տղագող է, տաղասասը տրեք սնմք։ Тишина, огонь.
With the bombs destroyed, Babayan can get back to spoiling the team with some home cooking. But the war is never far, even in conversation.
Ինձ հիշ տարբերություն կա։ Հրվան ես խոխան զոհված իմ խոխաս, տարբերությունը վերնա հայում։ Նա ասներում ունի։
Our teams are finding between 5 and 10 cluster munitions every day. And cluster munitions are an indiscriminate weapon. They can maim and kill long after a war is finished. And especially the M95s that you will have seen with the very distinctive pink ribbon. And they can be attractive to children, unfortunately. Since the end of the war, the challenge ahead has very much changed. Our priorities are now urban areas where the majority of the population of the new Armenian-controlled areas of Karabakh will be returning to. The dangers now comprises unexploded ordnance such as rockets, cluster munitions, artillery shells that are littering the streets and are buried beneath rubble.
Զգացի, որ արդեն ամիջապես եւ աթեիստներ, եւ ինքնաթիռների, եւ հրետանին հարվածում էր միանգամից, եւ այդքան չդիմացավ աղջիկս։ Իսկ կդիմանայի, որովհետեւ արդեն երրորդ պատերազմն է, որ տեսնում եմ։ Այն մի պատերազմի ժամանակ ամուսինս մասնակցել էր, իր ձեռքերով կառուցեց։ Եվ ավելի լավ է, որ ինքը շուտ մահացավ, որտեղ իսկ քանի չի դիմանա։